All right, so in the previous video, we talked about what a displacement analysis is and the need for it. In this video, we're going to talk about the first step of the displacement analysis, and that's calculating our room revenue differential. So we're only looking at room revenue at this point. So on the Excel spreadsheet that you have, we are going to look at, I've broken it down into different parts. And the first thing we're going to be looking at is what is our room revenue, okay? So the key information we're looking here is how many rooms we have available. In this case, we have 100. This is the group rate that is requesting the $145 rate. Then we have what our projected ADR is going to be at $195. Our variable cost is $25. And if you remember, our variable cost is what it cost us if we actually sell that room to make it ready to sell again. It's the cost of the amenities, the cost of the laundry, the cost of the labor, all of those things go into that variable cost, okay? And then our franchising fee and marketing fee, these are things that are really important because if we are franchising a company, then we agree to pay a certain percentage. So in this case, it's a 2% franchising fee. And then the marketing fee is 3.5%. And so what this marketing fee is, let's say again, we're franchising into the Marriott family and we're doing a Courtyard by Marriott. Well, when Marriott puts out a commercial for Courtyard by Marriott hotels, we need to be paying a marketing fee as part of what we sell our room rates for. And that marketing fee is going to help cover those marketing costs to put out videos and commercials and online content, all that stuff. So these two fees are typical when you are paying and franchising and you're paying to another company. So you have that franchise fee and that marketing fee. Any other fees, like let's say you have a fee to manage the property, then the fee would also kind of come out of that as well. But in this case, we're going to look at just these two fees. So we can actually add those two together, and so we get a total fee of 5.5%. That's going to be important later on. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually calculate what this total potential displaced is. Okay. And so we look at the total rooms that the group is requesting. So we add up all of those and we get 150 rooms. That number is going to become important in just a few moments as we look at what the total net revenue is going to be for the hotel if we accept this group. And so in this case, this total number right here is also important because oftentimes groups will have a concession where they have complimentary rooms, one for every 30 or one for every 40 room nights. And so in this case, because we have 150 rooms, regardless, well, if we did one for every 30, then we would have 5 rooms. And if we had 40, then we would actually have only 4 rooms. Okay, so that kind of helps us with our sales team to determine what our complimentary rate is going to be. Okay, then we actually calculate what our potential displaced is going to be. So on each day, this forecasted right here, this is what we are projecting, what our room occupancy would be. We can use the past year's data. We can look at all that information to figure out what would be our potential occupancy. And then what we're going to do is so to figure this out, we need to do our forecasted plus our group request, and then take that number and we need to subtract it from the rooms in the hotel. Okay. Now this number is important. This format is important because this number, in this case, 70 plus 45 is 115 minus 100 rooms in the hotel, gives us a potential displacement of 15 guests. Okay. If we look at the next state right here, 80 plus 65 gives me 145, and then I subtract that 100 rooms and I have a potential displacement of 45. Okay. The last one right here, we have 55 is our projected occupancy, and then we add up our 40 and we get 95. When we subtract 100 from 95, we get a negative number, which means we're not going to displace anybody. And so if we don't displace anybody, then that number essentially becomes a 0. Okay, so 15 plus 45 plus 0, since we're not displacing anybody, gives us our 60 displaced. All right. So now we take this information and we come down to figure out what our group net revenue is going to be and our transient displaced. So our group requested rate is 145. So essentially our room cost in this case is $32.98. And so how did we get that? Well, if we have a $145 room rate, we multiply that by 0.055. Because remember, our fees are 5.5%. Move that decimal place over 2 and we get 0.055. Okay, and that's going to give us a total of $7.98. Now we add that to our $25 variable cost and we get $32.98. So that's how we get that number. We take our rate that's requested, multiply it by the percentage fees, and then add it to our variable costs to get our total rate, sorry, our total cost. Then once we have our total cost, we can then just simply subtract that from our requested rate. And then, because we have $112.03, they requested 150 rooms total. We multiply those two numbers, and we get our group revenue, our net group revenue. We do the same thing for our guests that we are potentially going to displace. This is where you're going to see that 60 potentially displaced. So because our revenue, our rate is higher, when we multiply that by 0.055, the fees are the same. In that case, we're actually going to get $10.73. Okay. And when we add that to our $25 variable cost, that variable cost is the same whether we sell it to a group person or whether we sell it to a transient person. Okay, so that gives us a total of $35.73. When we subtract that, we now have a net revenue per room of $159.28. When we multiply that by our 60 potential displaced guests, we have $9,556.50. That's the potential revenue, the cost, the worth, the value, if you will, of those 60 displaced people. Okay, so now we can take that net group revenue. You have to do group minus displaced because that's going to give you an accurate number. Okay, in this case, we have $7,247.25 is our differential, which means that if we were to take this group, on the rooms alone, we would come out $7,000 ahead. Okay, we would have a $7,000 profit. we'd have to, this dollar amount right here, we'd be giving up that $10,000 in the displacement, but the group is bringing in almost $17,000. So that's how this room revenue differential works. The next process of food and beverage is in the next video. It's a little bit more complicated, a little bit more math involved, but the more you practice, the more you're going to get it.